Very good evening to you on this 21st day of December 2023. I do believe you had a wonderful day. Welcome to the bulletin. This is the Lookup News. And of course, we have stories prepared for you. Top among them, the return of KDF troops from DRC Congo, where they've been for the past 1 year in a peacekeeping mission. Of course, alongside troops from various East African countries, including Burundi, Uganda, and South Sudan. They were received today here in Nairobi by the Chief of Defense Forces, that is Francis Ogola. Now that, among many other stories we've prepared for you tonight. First of all, let's have a look at what's making headlines.
Tonight on Lookup News, Kenya Defense Forces return back to the country from their DRC mission after being in the country for more than 1 year.
The responsibility of the government is to create jobs in the country, not to search for jobs outside.
Raila Odinga slams the government for looking for jobs abroad and challenges President RUTO to create jobs at home. And only 7% of health facilities in the country work efficiently, health report now reveals.
Now, welcome to the program tonight. I am Ian Keitani, and our sign language interpreter is Josephine Auko. Remember, you can watch this particular bulletin live on our Facebook and YouTube pages at Lookuptv. Let's get going. And the Kenya Defense Forces soldiers have today jetted back into the country from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, the troops who have been in Congo for the past 1 year were received by the Chief of Defense Forces, Francis Ogola. Let's listen in to what happened.
Thursday afternoon, and Kenyan troops jetted back into the country from its peacekeeping mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Kenyan forces have been in the Democratic Republic of Congo for the past 1 year alongside troops from other East African countries, including Burundi, Uganda, and South Sudan, where they managed to restore peace. Kenya's troops, KDF, were the first to be deployed and managed to calm threats in Goma, the capital of the eastern region of North Kivu, where there was a huge penetration of the M23 rebels.
The mandate duration was initially 6 months, but subsequently extended to 8 September this year and later to 8 December this year, after which the government of DRC made a decision not to renew any further.
The troops in the joint operation area have since facilitated a ceasefire between the M23 rebels and the armed forces of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The ceasefire, however, breached later, reduced threats from other armed groups and assured the safety of civilians.
The ceasefire lasted from 7th March to 6th October this year, when it was breached following resumption of hostilities between M23 and FARDC. It is also worth noting the importance of actions such as the partial opening of the main supply routes by aircraft and preventing direct threats to Goma and Sake towns.
The forces are, however, proud of the steps made in the Democratic Republic of Congo in a bid to ensure stability is restored.
Redeployment registered varying successes in the joint operation area. Critical was the protection of civilians, which was achieved through facilitation and enforcement of M23 and FARDC ceasefire, and further dominating zones threatened by armed groups, albeit fragile.
Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
On to health matters now. On the National Health Facility Census report has revealed that only 40% of all government and private facilities in the country are accredited to offer NHIF services. The report also shows that there is dire need to address maternal health care, as less than 50% of the facilities can offer maternal services, and such facilities lack blood transfusion centers and supply of oxygen. Our reporter Henry Tende now looks at the report that has laid bare the sorry state of healthcare in the country and files the following story.
Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakhumicha has today released health facility census in the country in the year 2023, a report that covered both government and private facilities. The report released today has revealed a paltry 7% of all health facilities in the country are efficiently equipped to offer health services. 40% of the facilities in the country are accredited to offer NHIF services, while 60% lack NHIF accreditation. Level 2 hospitals are most accredited to offer NHIF insurance services at 57%.
We need to increase infrastructure in the facilities and also to ensure disability mainstreaming to accelerate PHC.
Figures on maternal health show less than 50% of hospitals in the country have the capacity to offer maternal services. Sadly, 60% of these facilities lack blood transfusion centers and are ill-equipped to offer emergency services like cesarean birth. Another disturbing revelation is that 46% of these facilities have no access to oxygen that is so critical in healthcare. The report additionally shows a low number of newborn babies access healthcare, with a paltry 12% said to access such healthcare.
The interconnected nature of health systems demands a holistic approach to address the challenges and to seize the opportunities. Therefore, as we move ahead, we call upon all our partners and emphasize the need for collaboration.
In reference to Kenyans seeking outpatient services, the report indicates that 69% of the healthcare facilities offer obstetric and gynecology services, 61% offer pediatric services, while 57% offer surgery services. The report also revealed 57% of all hospitals offer inpatient services.
Equally, this report demonstrates that there is more work ahead. Now, more than ever, the government envisages meeting health care needs of our population with a focus on the marginalized in the society. And you saw from the heat map that the DG presented, there are some areas that indeed do not even have one single critical care unit, like the north. So we have quite some work to be done.
On hospitals' access to necessary conditions to offer healthcare, the released report indicates facilities slightly above 80% are connected to electricity and have access to clean water. However, only 57% of health facilities have dedicated pharmacy centers equipped with required medicines for patients. Quite disturbing is that 51% of hospitals, both private and government, lack ambulance services. Additionally, only 381 facilities across the country can offer critical care services, while the country has only 164 ICU facilities that are in a condition to offer intensive care services.
We have made the attainment of universal health coverage a critical pillar of our strategy for sustained economic development. Ladies and gentlemen, our most pressing need now is a much greater convergence of all stakeholders towards the common goal of an improved healthcare delivery system.
We want to achieve an accessible, quality healthcare. We want to have available, quality healthcare.
The report seeks to equip the government with reliable data to position healthcare as President RUTO embarks on the implementation of a universal healthcare insurance plan. Henry Tendanyula, Lookuptv.
Thank you very much, Henry Tendanyula, for that detailed report. The government now wants Kenyans to seek employment opportunities abroad. This comes after the government of Kenya signed a partnership with the Saudi Arabia government seeking to create employment opportunities for Kenyans. Now, so far, more than 200,000 Kenyans have found job opportunities in Saudi Arabia. CS Labour, Florence Bore, has, however, called on Kenyans to look for job opportunities in the Middle East country. Ebi Kadenyi now reports.
Cabinet Secretary of Labour and Social Protection Florence Bore today held a meeting with the Kamal Agency of Saudi Arabia to discuss the immigration of Kenyan workers to Saudi. Speaking during the meeting, the Cabinet Secretary said that during her visit to Saudi Arabia, she found 2,500 opportunities for nurses in the country.
We have a joint collaboration with them to be able to visit our country, to visit the ministry, to be able to see how we process the migrant workers from here to Saudi and to other countries. And our main aim is that we want to streamline the process of the migrant workers. We want to ensure that we identify the right cadre of workers, we ensure that we process them well, and we ensure even at the destination where they go in Saudi Arabia, we are able to follow them and know what they are going to do. We also get to know their terms of their contract, and this has been a joint venture done by the Ministry of Labor here and the Ministry of the Human Resources in Saudi Arabia.
She further added that they're looking forward to setting up a desk in the airport that will aid in knowing where migrant workers are going and working.
We are looking forward to making sure we don't have rogue private recruitment agencies. We are going to clean up once more. We had already done the cleanup from 900 to 500. I'm very ready to even reduce that number from 500 to 100 recruitment agencies, just because we want the right persons to be able to recruit the right Kenyans. And we have very many good Kenyans out there with good certificates, disciplined, that can work out there.
Takamwal Agency CEO Khalid Al-Tohi further said that they're putting in more efforts to hurdle any obstacle that is preventing workers from going to Saudi Arabia.
We want to streamline and iron out any hurdles or obstacles that is stopping or slowing the recruitment of domestic or skilled workers to Saudi Arabia. I am sure, or we're sure, that there are ways that we can improve that. Okay, the numbers right now are good, but we're pretty certain that with few changes to the current model, we can increase the numbers by probably half more, or let's say 50% more in the years to come.
Ebikadingi, Lookuptv.
Now, on to some politics now, and azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition leader Raila Odinga has slammed President William Ruto's step to seek jobs abroad. Speaking at Kolalo grounds after presiding over the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of a ring road in Ugunja town, Raila has said that it is the responsibility of the government to create jobs in the country and not to look for them abroad.
Raila Odinga, the leader of Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition, emphasized that it is the government's duty to create jobs within the country, expressing concern over the lack of opportunities leading to young people to seek employment abroad, eroding Kenya's dignity.
The responsibility of the government is to create jobs in the country, not to search for jobs outside. Because in those other countries, those governments are also looking for jobs for their own people. So it is the responsibility of the government of the day to create jobs within its jurisdiction. This is information that Mr. RUTO needs to know.
Continuing his critique, Raila accused the Kenya Kwanza government of undermining devolution. He argued that President William Ruto's administration is manipulating the National Assembly to introduce legislation that hampers devolution, hindering funds' timely allocation to counties for development, and also calling out corruption in government.
We have said that Kenya actually deserves better. Corruption has reached very high levels here in the country. You see what has been happening. The issue of children not getting their examination results. The examination is a mess, completely. Infrastructure is a mess. The oil deal, a mess. You can go on and on and on. Messes that Mr. Ruto has committed. We have said that this country is not on sale. This country is not for auction. Kenyans deserve better.
Odinga, along with other leaders like Opiyo Wandayi, condemned the delay of disbursing funds affecting governors' ability to carry out essential development projects, as they called out the government for the rising cost of living.
Na Siaya kuna wazalendo walijitokeza kuona ya kwamba uhuru umekuja hapa Kenya. Kwa hivyo tunataka serikali bandia ya Kenya Kwanza iheshimu watu wa Siaya. Lazima waheshimu watu wa Siaya. na waheshimu watu ambao wako Nyanza nzima. Kwa hivyo tunasema hii serikali bandia ya RUTO, tunatoa onyo ya kwamba Wandai na wenzake walipokuwa wanaongea na baba wakasema bei za bidhaa zirudi chini, na wakakataa. Sasa tunasema hapo juu ya swala la bei za vitu bidhaa Kenya nzima.
RUTO, when you want to raise revenue to develop this country, you don't raise the levels of taxes. You don't raise the levels of taxes. In fact, you reduce the levels of taxes.
Killer story by one Brian Omoy takes us to a fast break. We'll be back in a moment.
Msimu huu wa Krismasi, mambo ni mega. Sherehekea Krismasi na Lotto Wins. Mwezi huu kuna magari ya kushindaniwa, guaranteed millions, 100k holiday shopping vouchers na mbuzi za Krismasi. Up to 40 million to be won in the hourly draws and a grand prize of 200 million every Wednesday and Saturday. Ndani ya 200 million mega jackpot. Cheza Lotto sasa. Ingia kwa M-Pesa Paybill 777000. Account Look. Amount shilingi 50 hadi shilingi 2000. Usiseme Merry Christmas. Sema Lotto Mega Christmas.
Over 18s only. Gaming can be addictive. Play responsibly. This message has been approved by the BCLB.
Changamka, cheza Lotto.
Infinity Industrial Park is one of the largest private industrial parks located along Eastern Bypass, Nairobi, which provides modern infrastructure for smooth operations for industries and business enterprises. Infinity Industrial Park offers world-class amenities and facilities with wide roads, a police station, a power substation, fire station, public transport stage, hospital, and shopping mall. In addition, Infinity Industrial Park also offers CCTV cameras, 24-hour private armed security patrol, sewer, water, fiber optic cable, and 3-phase power connection, added to public utility, canteen, and dining areas. Sail on the golden opportunity to invest in Infinity Industrial Park fully serviced warehouses at a special price of 3,569 Kenyan shillings per square foot. For more inquiries, visit our website infinityindustrialpark.com.
IUAE.
Well, many thanks for staying with us. Moving forward, the National Assembly Minority Leader James Opiyo Wandayi has warned that they shall make life extremely difficult for corrupt government officials from January next year. Speaking regarding the microwave medical equipment project, which he terms as a scam, Wandayi stated that the year 2023 was full of scandals and that made life very difficult for Kenyan citizens.
National Assembly Minority Leader James Opiyo Wandayi has warned that they shall make life extremely difficult for corrupt government officials from January next year. Speaking in regard to the microwave medical equipment project, which he terms as a scam, Wandayi stated that the year 2023 was full of scandals which have made life very difficult for the Kenyan citizens.
We promised Honorable William RUTO and his administration that as they give Kenyans a difficult time, we are going to make their life extremely difficult in the new year. All this corruption, nepotism, tribalism, and policies that are meant to deliberately impoverish Kenyans, we are going to give Kenya Kwanza an extremely difficult time about them in the new year.
The lawmaker from Unguja constituency outlined the following allegations, focusing on 900,000 euro scandal, a project that the government signed to purchase a medical waste equipment.
This is the microwave medical waste treatment project. The microwave medical waste treatment project signed between the government of Kenya and the Belgian government to supply counties, the 47 of them, with medical waste management equipment. Now, counties agreed to this deal on the understanding that it will include funding for the maintenance and management of the equipment. In the end, the cost of the contract signed by the National Treasury rose by 60% or thereabout, despite a tax waiver. Now, in bracket, one equipment is going to cost us some euro 1.43 million shillings in this phase 2. Remember, in phase 1, one such equipment cost us only euro 900,000.
Speaking in regard to the microwave project, Wandai says that the money disbursed went missing after an additional to 1.43 million euro.
But the money for the maintenance and management of the equipment is missing altogether. It has gone to the pockets of some people. We will be disclosing details of this developing scam in the coming days. But we are putting the National Treasury on notice that we will not allow it.
Wandai, who spoke at his rural home in Sidindi, reiterated that as the Kenya Kwanza administration give Kenyans a difficult time, the opposition party is on the watch. However, Wandai says Council of Governors are complicit to the latest scandal and call on them to come clear on the issue.
That some officials at the Council of Governors are complicit to this latest scandal. I challenge the COG to clear the air on this matter. Medical equipment, as you all know, has become a gravy train in recent years. We will fight this latest one. The country is going through a difficult time, but the ruling Kenya Kwanza government officials are having the best time of their lives.
Ruga Ival, Lookuptv.
Well, sometimes they say it's all talk but no action, but you might as well give them the benefit of doubt. Now, in a potential relief for cassava farmers nationwide, a newly improved strain of the crop developed through biotechnology to withstand diseases awaits legal approval following the completion of a rigorous inspection process. Catherine Saina takes a look at that.
Food security is a challenge across the region. However, in attempts to cushion and deal with the issue, scientists have been burning the midnight oil to ensure inventions are brought to light. Addressing Kakamega farmers and stakeholders, Dr. Miano has indicated that enhanced cassava provides solution to the challenges caused by diseases and climate change and strengthening food production in the country.
But cassava brown streak disease still remains a challenge. In the region, we are losing about 7.5 billion Kenya shillings because of cassava brown streak disease. In Kenya, we produce on average about 1 million metric tons of cassava. Majority of this, 60% is produced in Western Kenya, about 30% is produced in the coast region, and the 10% is produced in the rest of the parts of the country.
Speaking on the issue of safety, Dr. Roy Mugiri, Director General of National Biological Safety Authority, that controls genetically modified organisms, assures farmers that detailed evaluation have provided the safety of this type of cassavas.
The cassava varieties that are being displayed here have undergone the safety check through the National Biosafety Authority and are now at the final stage of checking performance towards release to farmers.
Whole
However, cassava farmers are urging the government to approve the crop and give them a market guarantee for the produce.
Mihogo ambayo inaitwa genetically modified, ambayo tumeangalia tabia zake, tunaona inafanana na mihogo ingine yoyote.
It could be a step to the right direction if the planting of the genetically modified fertilizer is accepted. A step that will see farmers not run into losses as they strive to ensure the country is food secure. Catherine Saina, Lookuptv.
Thank you very much, Kate Saina, for that story. Now, at least 180 needy households that are recently affected by floods in Loglogo, Laisamis and Marsabit town have received early Christmas presents in the form of foodstuffs, courtesy of the National Council of Churches of Kenya. Now, speaking during the food distribution exercise at Loglogo, Bishop Daniel Kampicha from the Anglican Church of Kenya, Diocese of Marsabit, made an appeal to Kenyans to extend a helping hand to the needy and less fortunate in the society, especially during this festive season, to also enable them take part in the Christmas celebrations just like the rest of Kenyans.
Na tuko na familia 45 upande wa Lesamis na familia 35 upande huu wa Marsabit, na zote pamoja ni watu familia 180. Kila familia itapata unga ya kilo 25, maharagwe kilo 10, mafuta lita 3 na ile chumvi ndogo. Tungependa wahusika wengine na wafadhili wengine waweze kujishughulisha na kujihusisha na njia ya support watu ambao wameadhirika. Kuadhirika si tu kwa mvuruko peke yake. Kuna watu ambapo hali ya maisha, umaskini imewashinda na wanaishi katika maisha mbaya. So wafadhili wote tuweze kuitikia mwito wa kupeana msaada, kuonyesha upendo msimu huu wa Krismasi.
Now, coffee farmers in Bungoma have lamented the hard time they have been having ever since brokers were eliminated, saying they are struggling to find a market for their produce. This and more in our news wrap.
Speaking in Bungoma while addressing the farmers on the need to strengthen the production of coffee, to the farmers who since feel the elimination of middlemen in the industry by the government has given them a rough time in marketing farm produce, Sarah Nyaga urged the farmers to keep on cultivating the much demanded crop.
Inaingia kwa soko kwa ikiwa kidogo sana, na kwa hivyo kuna watu ambao ni wanunuzi ambao wanatakanga kahawa mingi, wakati kahawa iko chini labda hawataweza kuingia kwa sababu ile kahawa anataka kiwango yake inakuanga juu.
Elsewhere, Nyandarua Governor Dr. Moses Kiarie now wants the national government to look into ways of harmonizing and centralizing the disbursement of bursaries to the needy students to enhance equality and transparency, noting that this would ensure vulnerable learners will benefit from the kitty, regretting that thousands of deserving students do not receive bursaries, adding that the distribution of the money has not been fair, claiming duplication of the award since some are paid by the county and NGCDF concurrently.
Kama kungekuwa na uwezo ya kuweka hizi basari pamoja, tupange pamoja, ili tuhakikishe kama ni watoto wa Nyandarua kila mtu amepata na amepata haki. Lakini kwa sababu saa zingine ya siasa kila mtu anatakana aonekane, basi sasa kila mtu anapata barabara yake, na ninahurumia mtu yule atakosa basari.
Finally, Nakuru Tuk-Tuk Association has selected a new team at Menengai High School to usher in the new officials to take over from the current. The new team declared to cater for the interest of their business while pointing at ensuring fair play in the business as well as ensuring sanity and tidiness.
To put in place a new office that's going to start and spearhead, to empower, to put order, to create security, to put sanity and representation of Tuk-Tuk fraternity within Nakuru municipality, and actually Tuk-Tuk network does this every county.
Ni kama tule wa IEBC tumekuwa na uchaguzi mwingine, lakini vile tulipata hili janga la corona, mwaka ambao tulikuwa tufanye uchaguzi hatukuweza kufanya kwa sababu ya hilo janga. Sasa imefika mahali kila mwana Tuk-Tuk anataka anataka change.
Regan Lemeguran, Lookuptv.
Let's talk matters education, and the competency-based curriculum classes were poorly constructed. A report by Auditor General Nancy Gathenge now shows. In her report, Gathenge said interviews with school managements revealed that the classroom were constructed within a short period of time. Brian Amoy now reports.
The construction of the CBC classes was deplorable. A report by the Auditor General Nancy Gathungu conducted after the Public Accounts Committee of the National Assembly requested reveals. The committee asked Gathungu to undertake a special audit on all expenditures incurred under Article 223 of the Constitution for the period. In her report, Gathungu noted that the construction projects and the classes, which was as a result of recommendations of the CBC Task Force 2020, was poorly done. The Auditor General's report indicates that interviews conducted with schools management revealed that the classrooms were constructed within a short period of time, leading to substandard work. The report states, therefore, the potential strength and durability of concrete was not fully developed. The short construction duration and insufficient funding resulted in poor quality of the constructed classrooms. The special audit team sampled 215 secondary schools in 27 counties that had been funded for the construction of CBC classrooms. The budget for one classroom was approximated to be 788,220. This was arrived at after the State Department for Early Learning and Basic Education engaged the State Department for Public Works to develop the budget for building one classroom. Gathungu, in her report, says the amount was arrived at without taking into consideration the terrain and topographical layout across the country. In addition, material costs were not standard across the country. The amount was therefore not sufficient for the construction of a standard classroom. The CBC construction project was aimed at helping the transition of learners from the primary level to the junior secondary level. The aim was to ensure the provision of classrooms for grade 6 students transitioning to grade 7, which was to be domiciled in the existing secondary schools, a move that the government changed later after it was decided that the grade 7 students will be domiciled in primary schools. The government had intended to construct over 10,000 classrooms in secondary schools across the country, with a budget of 8 billion being appropriated to the Ministry of Education by the National Treasury, after it was directed by the then head of public service Joseph Kinyua, out of which an amount of 2 billion was funded through Article 223 of the Constitution. The classroom in phase 1 of the project were constructed between November 21st, 2021 and June 30th, 2022. On capitation for grade 7 learners, the report shows that the capitation of grade 7 learners in JSS was successful in many of the 312 sampled schools. However, the special audit team established that 187 out of the sampled 312 junior secondary schools had students that did not receive capitation. The actual enrollment of the 187 JSS was 29,653 learners. However, they received capitation for 22,313 learners, leaving 7,340 learners without funding. The team gave an example of Arap Moi Primary School in Kajiado North Sub-County, which had an actual enrollment of 520 grade 7 learners. However, the school received capitation for 276 learners. The school had therefore not received capitation for almost half of their learners. Further, 8 schools did not receive capitation for any of their JSS learners. This was the case in Kauti Junior Secondary School in Kadhiani Sub-County, which had 51 learners. However, the school did not receive capitation for Term 1 and Term 2. The special audit team established that there was congestion in grade 7 classes, with some classes having between 80 to 100 learners, way above the required class of 45 learners. As a result, there was a high pupil-to-teacher ratio, negatively affecting the teacher-student engagement. Further, the schools did not have science laboratories. Brian Amoy, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
On to some sports news now, and many European clubs have rejected the enactment of the European Super League on a day that the European Court of Justice ruled that UEFA and FIFA acted against competition law when they blocked the formation of the European Super League in 2021. Robert Chacha files the following story.
Taking to their social media account, different clubs have expressed their disappointment on the ruling. The Premier League gave its statement on its X account, saying, and I quote, "Today's ruling does not endorse the Super League, and the Premier League continues to reject any such concept." The statement goes further by saying, "Supporters are of vital importance to the game, and they have time and again made their opposition to a breakaway competition that serves the link between domestic and European football. The Premier League reiterates its commitment to the clear principles of open competition that underpin the success of domestic and international club competition. Football thrives on the competitiveness created by promotion and relegation, annual merit-based qualification from domestic leagues and clubs to international club competition, and the long-standing rivalries and rituals that come with weekends being reserved for domestic football. UEFA President Alexander Srefin took to his Twitter condemning the agreement. His statement reads, and I quote, "We will not try to stop them. They can create whatever they want. I hope they start their top competition as soon as possible with the two clubs. Football is not for sale." End of quote. Some of the clubs who have expressed their condemnations include Manchester United, Atletico Madrid, Bayern Munich, Sevilla, among others. The European Super League will introduce 64 games, 3 divisions with a star gold and blue with the promotion and relegations, 14 games each season per team with 7 home matches and 7 away games. The tournament will be an open competition with the playoffs and league. Robert Chacha, Lookup Sports.
Of course, you can join Robert Chacha on Saturday on Olingo Sporty just to get a proper overview of what that particular ruling means and what the decision by various clubs mean in regards to that particular competition. Now, moving forward, Posta Rangers secured a 2-0 victory over Ulinzi Stars at the Ulinzi Sports Complex. Brian Otieno gave Posta Rangers the lead in the 33rd minute after receiving a superb cross from Caleb Olilo. Ulinzi Stars, however, missed a chance to equalize after Simiu's penalty hit the post in the 49th minute. Then Kamau's side, Posta Rangers, continued to quench their thirst for more goals, with Masharia Jackson netting the second goal for Rangers. The win now pushes Rangers to second position in the FKF Premier League table with 29 points, 2 points behind reigning champions Gor Mahia.
Lakini kafanya kazi kadi ya njano Caleb Olilo Kalwes. Mtu ambaye anakusimama naye Byron Odiaga, Boniface Mushiri jaza langoni huku, lakini umelamba chuma. Bado wanaomiliki wanajeshi wa Ulinzi Stars. Ochieng Hilary Simeo natanda mama, napoteza penalti. Hilary Simeo alileta uzuri kweli. Caleb Olilo kwa mara nyingine. Jackson Masaria akautati Otieno, anabaki yeye kumtizama tu machoni Michael Wanyika kabla kuweza kupiga pass ndani nyavu, lakini kwa mara nyingine wame...
Well, that particular story wraps up our bulletin this particular night. But remember, there will be one English Premier League match. That is a game pitting Crystal Palace against Brighton and Hove Albion at the Selhurst Park. Now, that brings us to the end of this particular bulletin. Many thanks for making time for us tonight. And of course, see you again tomorrow. To the team behind the scenes, Brian Amwai, my producer, Simon Kahambwe, James Momanyi, the director, of course, James Kinyo, Alvin Thuo, and Jackie here in studio. Many thanks for making this a success. I am Ian Keitani, and our sign language interpreter has been Josephine Oko. See you again tomorrow, and God bless.